Oh my
Robert,
goodness.
oh my God, it's happening.
We are actually lively. How did we pull this off?
I I don't know. I just don't know.
I feel like a
Hey,
technical genius. Hey, how are you out there in Los Angeles?
how is everything in New Jersey?
New Jersey is beautiful, amazing. You know, in Jersey, you always have to have your back against the wall. You always got to have your eyes.
I'm
Well,
just
this is
I'm just thrilled to have an excuse to put a shirt on.
I absolutely. I put contacts
Yeah.
in and did my hair.
Wow.
Otherwise, I looked like I was on my third season of Survivor. It's I was naked and afraid. It's just what's
Uh,
going on. How have you been
well,
doing? How have you been
I'm doing
handling this
okay.
quarantine?
I
You
am I'm baking a lot of apple pies.
amazing.
I know. And I think really like from this point forward, I will only ever perform in a caftan or yeah, it's bad.
You got stuck. You were stuck in Florida.
I was.
You
I
had to
was.
fly in the quarantine of this
I
all.
know. It was kind of not fun. It was kind of not fun. But
Absolutely.
we're doing good. We're doing good. We're doing good, you
I'm so
know?
excited to be here. We have the most, I can't believe these two amazing ladies said yes to join us here in our little show.
Well, you know,
It's,
what
it's,
else are they gonna do?
and thank you everyone who's watching because I know you've been stuck at home with your partners and your husbands and your wives and your children and your family.
What
I
did you
taught Lee,
say? What did you tell me?
I taught Lee my famous expression that family and friends both smell after 3 days. No, no
No,
offense
not
to my
family and
parents.
friends. Not
Oh,
family and friends. You
I
ruined
messed
your
up the
own
whole. I
punchline.
ruined the whole joke.
Okay, do it
I'll
again.
never, I'll never play the Catskills now, Lee. I, family and fish, and sometimes friends. Family and fish both smell after 3 days.
There you go.
Forget it. That's what happens when we try to practice a bit, Lee.
Oh my God.
uh,
But I've been cooking a lot, um, and walking the dogs a
you,
lot. I saw this really funny cartoon that someone posted of a man in his kitchen with three dogs, and two of them were by his side on the floor, and one of them was standing on top of the very top cupboard. And the little bubble from the dog on the top cupboard said, "Dad, you've taken us on 12 walks already today."
I don't even have a dog, and I'm taking one for a walk every day. I think we're all officially going crazy. But what's most important is that we're safe, and that we're lucky that we have a roof on our head and food and all of that. And anyone who's watching who's been out there helping sick relatives or is on the front line, from the bottom of our hearts, my goodness, it really puts
Right.
life in perspective for sure.
Yeah.
And thank you
So
for joining us.
I know, I'm
Cheers.
thrilled. This has really been fun. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. Secret fact about Lee: Lee has single-handedly kept wine.com open during this quarantine. He has
That is
bought
true.
cases and cases with a 10% off coupon. He's even
That's
fought
true.
with wine.com to get the coupon.
But what is my favorite?
Sarah Jessica Parker has a wine collection. Look at that. That's a special vintage right there. Sarah Jessica In Vivo X by Sarah Jessica Parker.
I seriously, like, secretly want Sarah Jessica Parker to know how much I love her Sauvignon Blanc so that she'll become a sponsor, not only of our show, of our little show, but like of my life. Is that so
I
wrong?
think I think that there's no way. I think next week she'll probably just pop in here. Who knows? Her and Matthew and the kids have a glass of wine. You're
Too
paying her
funny.
electric bill every month with your cases, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, it's
How
a
did this
really
come
good.
about? How did our show come about, Lee? Where did
Okay,
you come up
so
with this idea?
so many of you may know that I own the record label LML Music, and right after the new year, a very good friend of mine who's a wonderful musician contacted me and said that he was working on a new album for Robert Bannon, and would I be open to talking to him about releasing his album? And I said, of course. So we talked on the phone, lovely chat. And then I went out on tour And then when I got back from that collapsed tour, Robert texted me a question about licensing or something. And I said, well, why don't we have a FaceTime cocktail and we'll talk about it? And so we did. I had never seen him or spoken to him like face to face. And we had so much fun and laughed so much on that call that the next day I was like, what time is our FaceTime cocktail? And then the next day, and then the next day. And literally, I have spoken to Robert every day since March 15th. And then last week, I said, maybe it's just me, but I think we're very entertaining.
Absolutely.
And I said, I think we should broadcast our cocktail hour. And he said, great. And that's how this came to be. So,
and then it was just going to be us talking. And now all of a sudden we have guests, we have graphics.
We have guests. We were going to do this on Instagram Live. And then when we did our dress rehearsal, we realized you can only have 2 people on the screen, which would make it difficult to interview a third person.
Right.
So now we are streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook. And then we will load the show into IGTV on Instagram. So it will live forever.
For millions of people to watch.
Yeah.
Millions.
So, well, I think we should jump right into our first guest, who I'm just going to introduce her, bring her on, and then we'll talk about everything about her because there is so much. So please welcome to the program, Golden Globe award-winning songwriter and phenomenal singer, Amanda McBroom.
Hi, guys.
Amanda!
How are ya?
We're good. All the way from Ojai.
All the way from Ojai, where it's raining and fabulous. I have not yet poured my glass of wine, but you have just inspired me, both of you.
Yes. Join the party.
I have a suggestion for you, Robert, as you were talking about the fact that you were walking dogs, even though you don't have one. You need to get one of those clown leashes. You know?
Okay.
Don't you think?
We wanted a dog as a child. My parents are watching. We wanted a dog as a child, and my dad for Christmas, instead of getting us a dog, got us a clown leash and said, if you walk it outside every day for a month, we'll get you an actual dog. So me and my poor brother were out there walking this imaginary dog.
It's in your trunk somewhere, honey. Go get it.
That's so
it's
funny.
In the garage.
That's so funny. Well, Amanda, you and your fabulous husband, George, were at your house in New Zealand when all of this hit.
Oh, yeah.
What was that like?
Well, you were talking about your nightmare getting home from Florida. We were in New Zealand, and all our friends kept saying, you have to stay in New Zealand. You have to stay in New Zealand. It's the safest country on the planet because it has the smartest woman running that planet, Jacinda, bless her sweetheart. She slammed that country down right now, and we barely got out. The only things open in New Zealand right now are gas stations, doctors' offices, grocery stores. That's it. There's no. And I said to my husband, honey, not only do we have dogs and cats and a garden, if I stay here, I will die of boredom and cheese. So I said, I have to get home. And so we got like one of the last planes out, and being in being in the Auckland International Airport with nobody, and then being on a plane that you could not fit another body on the plane, but the pilots were wearing masks and gloves, the stewards were wearing masks and gloves, and then getting off at LAX where there was nobody. You'll appreciate it. We got out of LAX in 15 minutes.
Wow.
They didn't want to know where we'd been. They didn't know if we had a temperature. They didn't care. Just get out. So we were get home.
Wow. Yeah. Well, thank you for putting on makeup for us.
Honey, I practiced mascara. I haven't done mascara or my hair in about 3.5 weeks.
Right.
I've forgotten how to do it.
You look absolutely amazing. I was listening the past couple of days to your Voices album, and it's beautiful, and the recording of the 12th of Never is stunning, and your duet of your song The Rose was amazing. But I have to be a little partial. Your recording with Lee of your duet of The Rose is gorgeous. The arrangement is gorgeous.
It was a wonderful experience. I love singing with the Leester. You and I
Oh,
rode and sung together. And someday, if there isn't On the Road anymore, we might just have to do it again. Call it
That recording.
It's going to be the Geezers tour.
No, no. That recording is 15 years. So I know Lee is celebrating 15 years of that album.
15 years.
There you go. Well, you know, time is an herb now, so who knows?
Right.
Can you
Right.
can you answer me this great question? You have done a ton of voiceover work. You were on the Smurfs, you were on Scooby Doo, and tons of television like Starsky and Hutch and Charlie's Angels. Do you have like a favorite TV or voiceover story?
Yeah. Well, I have a favorite show, which is, of course, Star Trek.
Amazing.
Got to hang with Patrick Stewart, who is in his secret heart a country western singer. And
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
we bonded over talking about the fact that he really wanted to sing country western songs. He was
Wow.
yeah.
Trekkie. That's it. All the I'm sure you told the story a million times, but can you tell us the story about how you were asked to write The Rose and the reaction it's had? I mean, everyone has sung it. I think we looked it up there. What was it? Like 177 covers have been released professionally of the song.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Get your royalties.
Well, I'm gonna tell you a funny little story. I believe this happened in New Zealand. Yes, there was a girl who came up to me this time when I was there, and she said, "You know, you're the reason I'm here." And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "You're the reason I'm on the planet." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "My mother and father, when they met in high school, their slow dance tune was The Rose. And that's the reason I'm alive today." And I just went, well, then my job here is done. What can I say? That was really a nice experience. But yeah, nobody asked me to write that song. Lee knows this story, but I was driving down the Ventura Freeway one day. I wasn't a songwriter at the time. It was just my hobby. I was then, and still, if somebody would ever ask me again, which will probably never happen, to act. I was an actress at the time. I was doing TV and stuff. But I heard this song on the radio by a wonderful songwriter named Danny O'Keefe. It's called Magdalena. And there was a line in it where he says, "Your love is like a razor. My heart is just a scar." And I thought, ooh, that's a sexy line. I really like that. And then I thought, I don't think love is like a razor. What do I think love is? And all of a sudden, these words just started pouring into my brain.
Wow.
I couldn't stop. And I was driving as carefully as I could home. And I pulled into the driveway of our house, and I walked past my husband, who was I think he was watching football at the time. And I said, "I can't talk now. Don't talk to me. I'm thinking." And I ran to the piano, and in 20 minutes, there it was.
Wow.
I told Lee, I just happened to be the window that was open when that song wanted to come in, and for which I'm grateful. And then I had it, and I told my husband about it, and he listened to it, and he said, "You just wrote a standard." And I said, "Don't be silly. Nobody's ever going to hear it but friends at a drunken Christmas party." And he said, No. What? Mark my words, something is going to happen to this song. And then my beloved writing partner, Michelle Browerman, who was a professional songwriter, called me up, and she said, "Listen, there's a film coming out called The Rose, and they're looking for what they call outsourced material. They weren't hiring one writer. They wanted a bunch of different writers because it was supposed to be a bunch of different rock and roll songs." And she said, "I'm submitting some songs. You want me to give them yours?" And I said, "Yeah." I didn't know how to do that. So I gave her this cheesy little cassette, which she put in with hers, and they listened to it, and they did not like it, and they put it in the reject shoebox. But the music director was Paul Rothchild, who had been Janis's MD at one time. And he pulled it out and said, "This is an important song." And he gave it to them, and they liked it. And that's how it happened.
Wow.
My goodness.
Well,
that is amazing.
I was a songwriter. I kept saying, "I'm not a songwriter. I'm an actress. I'm not a songwriter." And my husband finally said, "Honey, don't you think you ought to take responsibility for what's on the mortgage?" So, okay.
Well, you have some fans, because we literally have people from Australia who are reaching out and saying how much they appreciate you and are watching us right now.
I love Australia. We were supposed to go. We were supposed to do a big old Ann Hampton Calloway and I were going to do a bunch of concerts beautiful Adelaide. But then, no, the world shut down.
I know.
Wow, I know,
Yeah.
but it's
Hopefully
going to
that-
come back.
Yeah.
It's
yes,
going to
it
come
will.
back.
I had a thought. I was walking the dogs yesterday afternoon. And I was listening to some music, which I like to do. And I think it was Billy Joel at the time, because I happen to think he's one of the great songwriters of the 20th century.
Mhm.
And it just came to me that music is what helps keep us alive.
Yes.
It really does. Even if people aren't even, George and I were talking about, my husband, who's a really great singer, and I were talking about it this morning over breakfast, the fact that even if you're not aware that there's music in your life, music is what keeps you sane. Music is what keeps you healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
So
I'm
true.
very grateful that I am in even the tiniest way somehow connected to it, as are you both.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, for me, that was like the greatest gift ever. And to be able to create a duet of that song with you was really amazing, amazing, amazing. I remember in 1992 when Mark and I first met, we went to New York and we went to the Russian Tea Room and went to your show. I didn't know you.
Out of here.
Nope, I didn't know you. I knew you were wearing this fabulous white pantsuit with like paintbrush marked multicolored. Oh yeah, and Joel Silverman was your musical director,
right?
And we saw that show, your show. Mark knew about it because he knew that you had written The Rose, and he's a big fan, and that was that. So. I've been stalking you for a long time.
That's when I was very young. And what about you?
No, when I think of the song, for sure, firstly, we grew up singing it in church, in recitals. I just last year had a kid that is in high school who came to me with the song and said, I want to sing it at my recital. And it lives on. And what I really think of is my mom's name is Rose. So I think of the song and I think of the connection with that whole story. So
fabulous.
Yeah, she is the Rose in my life. That's for sure. That's for
wow.
It's gorgeous, and the song will absolutely live forever.
So when did you guys start singing? Lee, when did you start singing?
Oh, I've been singing since I was a kid. I mean, I always wanted to sing. I grew up in a very musical family, but I don't think I was ever very good. Like I could get by, I could get like in the chorus, but I never felt like I had my own voice. And then I moved to New York. I grew up in Philly, moved to New York. When I came out here, I fell into a job as a personal assistant to Henry Winkler for years. And I took voice lessons just for something to do. And I was like vocalizing in the shower. I think I was 26 or 27. And I heard something unique. It was like the first time that I recognized that my voice was an instrument that I could play. And I've never stopped singing since then.
Well, it's a glorious instrument. It is a
glorious. Well, thank you.
What about you, Robert?
I did the 5th grade. I was the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz, and I was terrible. And I went to my I went to my parents and I said, I want to sing, but I don't know how. And like all good New Jersey parents, they took me right to a mall next to a pizzeria and a Chinese food restaurant was a dance studio. And I took musical theater classes, and the rest has been history ever since.
You were ruined forever. Yes.
Yes.
Wow. Amazing. Well, Amanda, thank you so much for taking time out of your day for our little show.
I'm so glad you're doing this. I hope that you will continue to do this because there's an awful lot of people I would like to see you talk to, and I'd like to see drink.
There you go.
Yes, that's
give my love to George.
And the same to Mark and the puppies.
Save a lot for yourself, and we'll talk to you soon.
Robert,
thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Be well. Bye. Be safe.
Love you all.
Mwah.
Bye, honey.
Is she not the sweetest?
Fun. She's the best.
She's the sweetest.
She is the best.
What a ray of sunshine she is.
I know. Well, I don't want to waste too much time because these talk shows go by so quickly, and
they're flying.
I know. So this next guest, I I'm obsessed with. I've only recently met her, but I am just obsessed with her. She was, I'll let her tell her own story, but she was like a big muckety muck on Wall Street, and then decided that she wanted to pursue her passion of singing and Broadway and whatnot. And one of the most brilliant voices I have ever heard. And I do stalk her on the Instagram, I must say. Her and her dog Fred, I'm obsessed with them. I'm obsessed with them. So let's welcome to the show, Jessica Vosk.
Oh my goodness,
Hi,
Jessica Vosk.
Hi, everybody.
Jessica
I'm
Vosk.
obsessed during this quarantine when you go to the park and people are exercising by that fountain and you're like, step 2, 3, 4, step, right?
It's a 5, 6, 7, 8 scoop.
That's it.
But I want you to know, hold on one second. I'm going to show you that my special Quarantine of the musical tool, when I'm outside and I see people not social distancing, is.
Bring us closer.
And Robert, I'm a Jersey girl myself, so I get out there and I really bring the Jersey sass.
That's right. I'm Bergen County all day. Hey.
Well, I'll tell you what. Not only do I love Amanda McBroom, I don't know if you guys know this, but the very first regional show I ever did out of Wall Street was a show that she and Michelle wrote called Dangerous Beauty out at the Pasadena Playhouse. If she's watching it right now,
I've seen it.
I was obsessed with her during that whole experience. I was like, who is this like child of the moon that drinks children's tears? I'm such a huge fan of hers. And I was during the whole experience of like, it was a very, very interesting and strange show to do, but the music that they wrote for it was sensational. So big old fan of Amanda. And I thought of doing a duet with Fred to the Rose, but I would never.
Well, Amanda just texted me and said, please tell Jessica I love her. So there you go.
Is she not just
She's the best.
She's an icon.
She's the best.
Icon.
She's the best. And truly one of the greatest lyric interpreters that I have ever witnessed. She tells a story like nobody else. And I honestly don't know her age, but she sings better today than when I first saw her. Like her voice has matured and grown, and her range, it's so great. So great.
I'm telling you that she drinks the children's tears from Iceland.
Yeah. Well, speaking of someone whose voice is out of this world, can you listen? I was a Jersey school teacher, was petrified to go into musical theater, petrified to go into singing, saw you on 2020 tell your story, and I was like, I need to quit my job right now and follow my dreams. Can you tell everyone who's watching a little bit about what happened and how that journey happened for you?
Come on up, Fred. Do you want to come up? Do you want to come up and say hi to everybody?
Yes.
They're like waiting for him. They're waiting.
Come up. Fred, come up. There you go. Everybody wants to know. There he is.
Oh, Fred is adorable.
Fred.
Oh my gosh, are you just a cutest little child muffin? So here it goes. My weird story is I grew up with parents who were both artistic in their own right. My father, though, went into pharmaceuticals. My mom went into real estate. And they allowed me to love and pursue theater in community-wise for all those years and through high school. I thought, after high school ended, senior year, I did the whole thing where I auditioned for the musical theater schools. I got into the Hart School of Music in Connecticut at the University of Hartford. And I majored in musical theater there for a semester. And it just wasn't my jam personally being there. And so naturally my parents, my Jersey parents were like, come back to Jersey, go to a state school, we'll buy you a car. I was like, oh my God, crazy. So
sounds familiar.
Yeah, you get it. And so
I get it.
I did that. I went to Montclair State University and chose a completely different major in under the umbrella of communications and investor relations. Wound up getting a job in Manhattan in finance my senior year, 6 months before I graduated, and worked there for 3 years before I decided to take a leap and just jump without a safety net, because I was like, I don't love what it is that I do, and I have to do what I love. And again, at the time, my parents were like, abort. But they're okay now.
It's kind of worked out all right.
It paid off.
Yeah, a lot of hard work. A lot of hard work, as all of us on this version of 2020 understand. What we put into our lives is a lot of hustle and a lot of grit, and and we put out a lot of the successes that we have, but it's all a very difficult journey to get there. At least I try to tell kids who I talk to those.
I know you've been talking to kids.
Right, exactly.
What'd you say?
You've been talking to a lot of students. I know I had some students from Monmouth University, Jersey, who saw you were going to be on with me and were like, we love her, and you inspire tons of people with your story and with your voice.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's sort of like when you go through a huge life change, or you know, anybody who's really gone through some tough shit. Don't censor me, Facebook. Who's ever gone through some tough shit and had to kind of climb their way out of the rubble by himself.
Yeah.
I understand what that's like. I have a lot of respect and empathy for people who are going through tough times. And right now, because we're in a dumpster fire, we're all in it together. And we can do these things where Lee is across the country, and we get to be talking face to face.
I love it.
You find the silver linings, I guess.
Yeah. You know, I first met you because our mutual friend, Michael Landra, who's the original Irish tenor from Riverdance on Broadway. We were in, I think, Columbus, Ohio.
That's right.
Yeah. For the Arts Midwest booking conference. And he was having a showcase for this musical he's producing called Noel. And they flew you in from Philadelphia, where you were touring, starring as Elphaba in Wicked.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to his showcase because he's like one of my best friends. And I didn't know who you were. I had never seen you. I'd never heard you. And I was literally like dumbfounded. I was obsessed with that song that you sang.
It's such a beautiful song too.
Oh, my God. So, you know, then I became a stalker, and now I just love that I've been able to book you some concerts. And
you have, and when I was out in LA last year, I had the chance to come visit you at home.
Yes.
And that was
meet the
nice.
dogs.
I met the dogs.
You met the dogs. But I just have to say, this past summer, you were part of a new musical,
Becoming Nancy.
At the Alliance Theater in Atlanta that Jerry Mitchell directed.
Yeah.
And I don't know that much about the musical because I didn't see it, but you recorded a song, a duet called Night Bus.
Yes.
That literally I'm obsessed with.
Isn't it so good? I mean,
my God.
It's the writers of Mary Poppins, George Stiles and Anthony Drew, and they just get that earworm in, man. They know how to write a hook.
Wow.
That song was such a masterpiece in the show because I mean, it's stuck. It's such a sticky song, and
right.
And to be the one who got to sing it, I felt cool. And
absolutely,
I know
you are cool.
Listen, you'd never believe it, but I have to play somebody's aunt in the show. It's so crazy. But it was just like one of those moments where you get to sing the song in a rehearsal room and you know it's a hit. And the show itself, honestly, right before, I call it the Coco Roro virus 2020, we did a 2-week reading of Becoming Nancy. We put some new changes in, and our producers, who are just the most incredible Broadway producers, were in the room, and The very last day of that reading is when they shut Broadway down.
Oh,
So it was like this wild thing where you got to do what you love for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden it was like crickets.
it's horrible.
Wow. I know times are so uncertain now, but do you think that will resurface
I
on
hope.
Broadway?
I think that there's a really great chance. I think there's something really special right now. For those of us who are in the business, it's an original musical, and I think Broadway could use some more of that right now. It's not to say that the biopic musicals are not incredible and Disney isn't fantastic and Wicked's still going strong, but there's something really amazing about the underdog of a new musical written top to bottom, original content that is special. And it's a true story. It really did happen to the man who wrote the book. And it's a story about somebody figuring out who they are, and the fact that, not everybody accepts them, but it's okay, because that's what life
amazing.
is.
Broadway's
like, it's shut down for now, and I keep trying to tell people who are asking me my opinion on it. Again, I have an aunt working on the front lines. It's a bad situation, but it will come back. It will certainly come back.
It's so scary. I know that people love your Broadway work, Wicked and Bridges of Madison County and Finding Neverland, but I have to tell you that if you have not watched the video of you doing Joseph from
oh my God, ridiculous.
You're there. My good friend Roger Covington, who says hello today, is in it. He was like, "Can I come on and talk to her?" I said, "No, you will be on. You will talk to her." We were just talking about you. The videos of it are insane, and I've become obsessed with your album. I just told Lee the mashup of Being Alive and Help from the Beatles. What an amazing recording and arrangement! It is so catchy and beautiful. It is so wonderful.
Oh, thanks. The cool thing is, like, when I was on tour with the Green Monster, we were able to fund that Kickstarter. The fans funded it in 72 hours, and it not only surprised me, and then it surprised me doubly that, like, Kristen Chenoweth decided to kick in some money, and I was like, what are you, ma'am? And so it afforded me the fill it up, Lee, fill it back up, for God's sake.
Okay.
Thank God.
Do you know what Kristen Chenoweth did yesterday? Did you see her post?
Her little phone number thing?
Yeah, this is amazing. So she got like a public, like another cell phone that's not her personal phone, but it's her phone.
This is a thing. Yeah, it's a thing.
And she posted the phone number because she said, in this moment, there are a lot of people out there, fans out there, that are struggling, that are lonely, that need someone to talk to. And she said, "Text me. I'm here for you." I just think that's amazing.
It is. It's a really cool. What I'm finding is, and I don't know if you two feel the same way, because art is we're seeing now that art is a healer, and if anybody didn't believe it before, it's like, okay, well, look what happened when the world shut down. The healers and artists have come up to really help, and there have been a lot of like fantastic living room concerts and actors fund benefits and all these things where everybody's getting out there and singing. But what I'm trying to do is use my platform right now to raise some mental health awareness, because I think it's the struggle bus. We're on the struggle bus. And so next week I'm speaking with a psychologist on an Instagram Live and having people just ask questions. And it seems like the fans are very much like, okay, I would love to know how you deal with being home 24/7, or what's it like to be quarantined and not have a job that you're going to every day. It's like, that's some tough crap to deal with.
Yeah.
So I really do respect, and I've always respected Kristen, but she's got the same idea of like, look, isolation is weird for the extroverts out there.
Sure.
I'm used to like saying hello to a weird person that walks off the bus. Like, that's how many people I want to talk to all the time. So for the introverts, I have a girlfriend of mine who's like, I love this. And I was like, don't ever talk to me again. She was like, I'm thriving. I was like, walk away. Walk away.
Well,
But
that's amazing. Mental health is such an I mean, I've gone to therapy and it's literally saved my life. I think my therapist has a house down the Jersey Shore on my therapy sessions.
That
And
you paid for.
I paid for it, definitely. But it's something that
Unbelievable.
people don't like to talk about, the stigma of it. So that is amazing.
well, and
Right.
if not now, when are we going to do it? When things are in the craziest spot that they could possibly be? It's like, what's the point of sitting here being like, no, I'm so great.
Yeah.
When will I have a job?
Right.
But this is what we do as artists. We're kind
Right.
of the ones who go, okay, let's figure it out.
Right.
Absolutely.
So we envisioned this show like just as a chat fest and everything, because I was talking to our mutual friend Shannon at the Cabaret in Indianapolis. I know, we love Shannon. And we were going to do like live shows because we filmed so many of our shows, and we were going to offer them live while we were shut
I love
down.
that.
And there's so many licensing issues. And
Is that right?
yes. We talked to an attorney. So we didn't do that. So when Robert and I envisioned this show, we thought we're just going to chat because that's free. But then you posted on Instagram today that you were going to sing a song. So
I don't know. I was just like,
there's no pressure, but if you wanted to sing us out, we would like fall over.
oh, well,
But no pressure.
Well, come on. What am I doing? What am I doing right now? Is there anything?
I love you, Jessica.
Oh my God, I love you too, and I'm. Thank you so much for asking me to do this. I'm so glad to be the Inception episode.
Yes. Thank you.
Is there anything that you want to hear right now that would make you feel inspired?
I mean, you wanted to sing John Prine, and I mean, goodness gracious, that I mean, talk about an absolute amazing songwriter.
Well, he just recently passed. I'm such a fan of his, and I had my brother put something on guitar that I could sing for tonight. I had him do Angel from Montgomery, and I was wondering if you'd like to hear it.
Yes.
What do you
Yes.
think? Is that crazy?
No.
Okay, it's happening. Let me
It's
see if
happening.
I can do this.
It's happening. I'm going to just bring it up here on my trusty doodad. And I'm going to do a little a sound check. Are you still there? Is everybody still here?
We're here, but we're giving you center stage.
Get out of here. I just want you to tell me is this too loud?
No, it's
Is that
perfect.
crazy loud?
Perfect.
It is? Okay. Let's see what we could do. I am a woman named after my mother. My old man is another child grown old. If dreams were lightning, thunder were desire, this old house would have burned down a long time ago. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rollie. Oh, just give me one thing that I can hold on to believe in this living. It's just a hard way to go. When I was younger, well, I had me a cowboy. He weren't much to look at, just a free rambling man. But that was a long time, and no can hear them buzzing. It ain't done nothing since I woke up today. How the hell can a person go to work in the morning and come home in the evening and have nothing to say? Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an Aurora. Just give me one thing that I can hold on to believe in this living is just a hard way to go.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That was gorgeous.
Jessica,
I
wow,
just wanted to sing a song.
you learned to sing a song.
Jessica. That is gorgeous.
I hoped you could hear it. I hope everybody could hear it.
Oh, they love you. Did you see the comments? They love you.
Well, thank you all so much. I'm just, I love that I get to be here and I get, my son.
Fred.
He's such a baby.
You are an absolute gem. Thank you. I don't even know how to say thank you so much for sharing that with us tonight. You could blow me over with a feather.
I'm hoping that we're not in quarantine like that much longer.
Agreed.
But, like, if we are, would you come back?
Are you kidding? Yes. Look at the three of us. Three's company. Are you joking? Yes.
We're taking it on the road.
Well, thank you. We love you
both so much, and
Jessica,
stay safe.
Thank you. Jersey all day. Thank you so much.
That's right. We don't pump our gas. We pump our fists. Okay.
Right.
Love you.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye. Wow.
Lee, we had a show.
We have a show. All right.
We have a show. Lee, I think Lee, we actually pulled this off.
Oh my God. Wow.
Can I just say that his idea, he put all this work, all of this graphics.
Stop.
Thank you, Lee, so much for having me be your co-pilot on this adventure together.
I'm learning how to be like an engineer at the same time. So for anybody who has not heard this song from Becoming Nancy, go onto YouTube and search for Jessica Vosk, V-O-S-K. And the name of the song is Night Bus. It's a duet, and they did a recording, and they videotaped the recording of the recording. It's amazing. So next week, we are very excited. I don't even know if this is completely confirmed because he's become so popular like in the last week. My very good friend is like now a YouTube sensation with like over 10 million views. He's been doing these parody videos like that old song, My Sharona. He made it My Corona, and it's all about running out of toilet paper. And he did a parody of Adele's song, Hello. But his lyrics are hello from the inside because he's stuck in the house. And then he just yesterday released a parody of this Lizzo video. What's that song?
Oh, no,
Baby, how you doing now? What's the name of the song? Somebody message me, comment me. What's it called?
We're going to look it up.
Look it up. Anyway, I think it's called Good as Hell, and his version is called Bored as Hell. I am telling you.
That's it.
Yeah, Bored as Hell. And it's all about cutting his hair, flossing his teeth, and clipping his toenails. And at one point in the video, I don't want to give a spoiler or anything, but he has like 12 pieces of dental floss hanging out of his mouth. And he does that cat's cradle thing like you did with the yarn when you were in summer camp. It's brilliant. So I think, unless he's like too busy, being on CNN, which he seems to go on every day, Chris Mann is going to be our special guest next week. like for the full hour, even though we're not an hour show. How does that work? I don't even know.
I don't know.
I don't know. But if you haven't seen his videos, go to YouTube. And also, I want to give a special thank you to our dear friend, Jim Caruso,
Yes.
who yesterday, when we realized that you can't have 3 people on Instagram Live, he told me about this platform, this studio that we're using to broadcast. And Jim is the producer and creator of Cast Party in New York, which has been going on for, I don't know,
Ever.
80 years or something. And
Forever.
right, it's at Birdland every Monday night. And so now every Monday night, he's producing Pajama Cast Party.
Yep.
And it's streaming live to YouTube.
Yep.
And his YouTube address is right there at Jim Caruso 212. And it's at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. And
Jessica Vosk is going to be on. She's going to be on
on Monday. Yeah. So I'm watching. I don't know about you,
I'm
but I'm
watching too. I watch. I love Jim Caruso and Cast Party.
So thank you all for joining us. And if you have suggestions of who you want us to have on as a guest or anything, just I don't know, message us on.
Yeah, we'll be here every Thursday.
Right. And we're going to load this up onto Instagram, IGTV, right? So it'll be there forevermore.
Forever.
And, I don't know, Robert, this has been a joy.
This has been such a fun
If
project.
anybody knows Sarah Jessica Parker, I want her to sponsor my life.
He is the fan club wine president for that. Look, from my house to your house, Lee, to our family, to our friends, partners, people that are home, have sick family members, to the parents who are teaching their children, to the nurses and the doctors and everyone. We all are in this together. So big virtual hugs to you, Lee, and to my family and friends and everyone who's watching here tonight. And we can hang in there and we'll get through this together.
We will. Be safe.
Be safe.
Stay home.
Stay home.
We'll be back next Thursday at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. And thank you so much. This has been a joy. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you. Good night, everybody.